In this video, we're having a discussion about something that we all aspire to, which is the freedom of never having to worry about money again. Doesn't that sound really good? Like a very worthwhile achievement? Let us dispel some of the myths in this discussion. Now, how am I qualified to have this discussion, you're probably wondering? Well, let me tell you, I started out in life as a young man. My goals were to become a business magnate. Seriously, a business magnate, somebody that's talked about in the news because of how much money they've got and how much they own, which there's plenty of those today. And I've mentioned in other videos, I'm not going to just give you my personal story here. I'm going to give you some insight of what I've learned as someone that's actually started out putting those ideas in motion and then had a change of heart and decided that wasn't the way to go. So the freedom of never having to worry, and what I find in life is that there seems to be two schools of thought. I don't really like saying there's two kinds of people because I don't like putting people in categories as if I'm dismissing them as people. I don't want to do any, I don't want to sound like I'm doing any such thing, and I'm not doing that. I think all people are worthwhile, all people are special, and all people can be wonderful or have the potential to be wonderful. But there are two schools of thought out there that some people lean more towards school A of thought and other people lean more towards school B. And it's a choice. I don't want to make it sound like a person was born with this leaning. Even if a person feels as if they were born in this leaning, it is imperative to understand that we do make choices every single day. And how we think is a choice. And people can change direction at any time. So in Group A, you have the people that go for quote unquote security. And you hear this in phrases such as financial security. And isn't that what the freedom of never having to worry about money again, isn't that really talking about financial security? Think about it. Security and not worrying, they seem like they're part of the same school of thought in school A. The truth is that people do worry even when they have way more money. I mean, having way more money than you really need may seem or sound like a certain kind of security, and in a way, it is more security than not having the money. That is the one thing that money does do. A friend of mine used this terminology many years ago, and I liked it, and I still use it to this day. And it is that having money simply displaces the negative of not having money. That is indisputable. And, you know, the fact that money displaces the negative of it, that is to say, if lack of money is a negative in your life, then having money would displace that negative. In the second school of thought, you have a different way of thinking of people that say, I realize there's no such thing as true security in anything in life. And we say things like this, they're cliches. I mean, yes, you literally could walk in front of a bus and get killed tomorrow. But you say, I know, if I die, I die, but while I'm alive, I want to eat for the 3 days. I want to be wealthy while I'm alive. So there's no security in the sense that not because having money doesn't displace the negative of not having money, but that there is no guarantee anywhere. Number one, as we discussed in a different video, there's no guarantee that you will ever achieve a level of money where you would never have to worry about money again. That's the first thing. Even in the people that put out those thoughts in their videos will tell you that most people won't achieve it. But you can die trying, and in the meantime, you will have spent the hours in your days, weeks, months, and years pursuing something that most people won't achieve. They make it sound as if all you've got to do is set these things in motion and then hire other people to run it for you. Well, take it from somebody that's done that. Yes, I have done that. I've started multiple businesses way before the internet, when there was no such thing as internet scalability, but there was still brick and mortar on the ground scalability, and I used that scalability to the utmost of my ability. And I scaled into multiple businesses, and I hired people, and I did create time in my life, and I did have a somewhat of a semi-passive income. But as I say, anything can happen in life. There is no security. Competition moves in. New technology is discovered. Your method becomes obsolete. That's the whole idea, is that people in this second school of thinking, they're not ignoring the fact that there's no guarantee. They're embracing the idea that there's no such thing as security. And the idea behind the freedom of never having to worry about money again, that is a myth, is that all you've got to do is... And I see this in the FIRE community. This is why I'm talking about this, is that it's portrayed as if you achieve this number, then you'll never have to worry about money again. And I see people talk about financial calculators, this, that, and the other, and it's all because what they're really seeking is a feeling of inner peace and security, and they do so by trusting in these calculators and this number and these numbers and all that. Instead, what I have learned is that, if you were sitting there talking to Americans, America has been the land of the free and the home of the brave for so many years. There's way more to that conversation, isn't there? Subject of a different video. Let's just stick with that premise for now and say that even in the 20s, during the great boom of that era and the consequent bust that came around, lots of people's lives were turned upside down. And even those that went abroad during that age, yes, even during that age, people, it's a sort of psychology, a mental trick that our mind plays with us. Even Americans of that age believed that they could go to a distant land and have more prosperity than they had at home. And I'm not saying that you can't, but I'm just saying that the things that were happening in the background in that age, that particular moment in history, that these Americans that were coming out of the crash into depression and going to, of all places, a place that was right after they landed there gets taken over by communism, and they all become victims of something that they had never ever dreamed of. And some of them had big stories to tell of their lifelong enslavement, and many of them unfortunately perished. That is to say that there's never any guarantee in anything whatsoever in life. And consistent with the beginning of the thought, the freedom of never having to worry about money again comes only with the realization what true freedom really is. And it is the freedom of literally not depending on having to have a certain amount of money. Now you can make all the money you want, and as long as you're happy while you're doing it, and as long as you don't have to sacrifice any of your principles or anything that is really valuable in life, such as health, happiness, contentment, relationships, and personal liberty, if you can have all of those, all of the things that are part of a normal, free society that we have tended to take for granted in America for so long, until something comes along and wants to take it away. Isn't it just like human nature, though? The saying that you don't know what you've got until it's gone. That's exactly what's happening this day and age. And I'm so happy that many people are realizing it. And so the freedom of never having to worry about money again. Let us not get bamboozled into believing that it's all about trying to achieve some sort of monetary level or figure that only the very few historically achieve, because it isn't true. You can learn to live within your means, and you can be happy doing it, and we're a testament of that fact on this channel. Ancient writings tell us not to worry because we have no control over the future anyway. We shouldn't be worrying, we should be doing something about our situation. So, other ways of not worrying about money: absolutely stay out of debt. Don't make financial commitments. Don't make promises what you'll pay people, that things may change. Our personal liberty is, it may sound like a long-term thing, but it's actually one day at a time. Our liberty is one day at a time. So we don't have any control over, like next week, next year, what's going to happen. And the past is gone. Every single day we have that one day. And that day, you either have liberty or you don't. And so you wouldn't want to have like a long-term commitment like a mortgage, because it's interfering with your daily liberty. You see, for example, if you wanted to keep your daily liberty today, therefore you wouldn't make a promise of paying something that you couldn't pay off today.
But you know what, I was just now thinking, people think you need so much to live on in the United States, and they can't believe we only lived on $1,500, but it's because we had no mortgage, we had no car debt, we had no debts whatsoever, and we don't do health insurance. So when you take the two, those are the two biggest, I think, is your house and your health insurance. And so we didn't have those, and so anybody could live on $1,500 if they're not paying astronomical. They pay $1,500 just for their health insurance.
Here's a good thought that you just brought up. Going back to the two different schools of thought. In the school of thought of security, you have people that rely on certain ways to feel or to, in their mind, achieve security. And then in the other school of thinking, those people are more self-reliant and believe in achieving, or at least pursuing and achieving their security themselves. So in A, that would be people that are trusting in health security. They'll be trusting in healthcare systems for that. They'll be, for debt security, they'll be trusting in insurance institutions and all of this institutional kind of security, quote unquote security. Whereas in the B category school of thought, people are more likely to take care of their own health, pursue knowledge about their bodies. That's what gives them security, is knowing, well, gee, if I eat this way, or if I do these things to my body, I'm going to cause it to break down more. But if I do these things, that's where their security comes from. Security either comes from increasing our knowledge base and taking matters into our own hands, whereas in the other group, they default their knowledge to others, institutions, systems, and usually have to pay a lot more to those institutions in order to have the feeling of security. So you've got two different people here, two different camps, Both people are worthwhile. God loves all of you, every one of us, but there's two very distinct ways that people think, and there's no sense trying to convince one group to be like the other group. Thanks for coming to the video. I'm glad you stayed with it. Let me know your thoughts and have a wonderful day.